Hi, grade 5. Hope everyone is doing well. So, as you all know, at the end of every unit in your language arts textbook, we have a new writing lesson. And this lesson is about persuasive writing. All right, what is persuasive writing? When you try to get people to agree with your point of view, you are trying to persuade them. Now, we discussed this in class. To persuade means to convince. All right, if I am persuading you, I am trying to convince you to adopt my opinion or to think the same way that I do or to believe the same thing that I believe. All right, and also persuasive writing can sometimes persuade people to take action. All right, so here on page 128 and 129, we have two different examples of persuasive writing. The first, the forecast, a warmer world, is a persuasive article. All right, you will find that the text here is different than the persuasive writing on the second page because this is a persuasive letter. All right, so the first is taken from a magazine. This is an article in Time for Kids. All right, whereas the second one is a persuasive letter that is written to, it says Division Publishing Company. All right, you guys can read these two and look at the differences. Okay, so let's move on to the features of persuasive writing. Persuasive writing states the opinion of the writer and attempts to influence an audience to agree with that opinion. Persuasive writing clearly states an opinion on a specific topic. It uses convincing reasons and arguments, organizes reasons in a logical order, usually saves the strongest argument for last, and includes opinion words. All right, so here an opinion. Let's look at the forecast, A Warmer World. What is the author's opinion about global warming? All right, let's read it together, guys. According to a report by United Nations Scientific Group, the Earth's average temperature could rise as much as 6 degrees in the next 100 years. That would be a huge change. Over the past 100 years, the average temperature rose 1 degree Fahrenheit, and even that is considered to be a big change. Even a small rise in the Earth's temperature could have a big impact. The UN scientists predict that over the next century, polar ice caps and glaciers could melt, raising ocean levels as much as 3 feet. Low-lying land along seacoasts and in river basins could flood. Entire islands in the Pacific could be underwater. Many people could have to move to higher ground. Global warming could also make weather less predictable, with extreme heat and cold, drought, and more violent storms. Rainfall patterns could change. Some farm areas could be unable to grow crops. What can we do? Most nations have taken small steps to control the release of gases that trap heat. Everyone agrees that stronger measures are needed. Scientists now know global warming can't be ignored much longer. All right, so this is the author's opinion. Scientists now know global warming can't be ignored much longer. All right, and this is the persuasive conclusion. All right, so it summarizes the author's opinion. Again, it is the strongest argument. This is why it is left at the end. All right, when we say scientists now know, this makes it more convincing to your readers that scientists also believe the same way. So this is going to persuade them to believe that global warming is a serious issue also. All right, next, convincing reasons. The author states that global warming could cause flooding. What reasons are listed to convince the reader that the floods would be harmful? All right, so here we have a list of ways that flooding could be harmful. Low-lying land along seacoasts and in river basins could flood. Entire islands in the Pacific could be underwater. Many people could have to move to higher ground. All right, so this is something that would affect the reader personally, all right, which is why it is convincing. Next is logical order. So to make a clear argument, it's important to give reasons or details in a logical order. Well, again, what does a logical order mean? Logical order means in an order that makes sense. All right, so here let's look at these details in order. All right, the author begins with a very strong lead, according to a report by a United Nations scientific group. All right, so this is a credible source, a trustworthy source. This is reliable, okay, a report by the United Nations. Okay, why is this much stronger than saying, for example, I believe that the Earth's average temperature could rise as much as dot dot dot? Okay, if we say that a report by the United Nations, this shows that we actually have evidence. All right, so we did our research and we know that the experts also think that there's going to be a huge change in the temperature, which is why we should take action. Okay, so the author here begins with a strong lead. He says that first that it could rise as much as 6 degrees in the next 100 years, and this would be a huge change because over the past 100, it only rose 1%, and that was a big change. 1 degree, sorry, 1 degree. 1 degree Fahrenheit. Okay, and next, the strongest argument last. All right, the author's last argument is meant to leave a strong impression on the reader, which is what makes it a strong ending. Global warming could also make weather less predictable with extreme heat and cold, drought, and more violent storms. So this would directly affect you. It would affect every reader. All right, so we wouldn't be able to predict the weather, extreme heat, extreme cold. It would be difficult to live, drought, and storms. And the storms will become more violent. And finally, opinion words. All right, the author uses opinion words to appeal to the way an audience thinks and feels. All right, so by saying everyone agrees that stronger measures are needed, this persuades the audience to also be among those people who agree that stronger measures are needed. Okay, here at the bottom we have another checklist. Okay, sorry, here we have the features chart. All right, on the right-hand side here, we have features and examples. All right, this is something that you guys can do as an exercise. All right, the persuasive letter here that is on the right-hand side. All right, so you can list the features of good persuasive writing and use the letter written by Tracy Dell to look at the features and the examples to identify the features of persuasive writing. All right, so there are several steps. There are 5 steps, actually, 5 main steps. Just like when we wrote our personal narratives. All right, first we always pre-write, and what happens in this stage? We think about our purpose and audience first. All right, so the purpose of persuasive writing is to convince or persuade our reader to adopt our opinion. All right, we must use convincing reasons and language that will persuade our audience to agree with our point of view. Okay, when we're planning a persuasive letter, you must think about your reader. What is his or her opinion about your topic? And what will you need to say to get your audience to think what you do? All right, so once we identify and we think about our purpose and our audience, we start to choose a topic. How do we do this? We brainstorm, right? Brainstorm a list of issues or topics that you feel strongly about and choose the issue that is most important to you. Next, we explore ideas by making a list of at least 3 reasons that support your opinion. For each reason, give facts and opinions to support it, and then we will put the reasons in logical order. Okay, so here there is an example why we should clean up the park. All right, and the reasons. Okay, once we have explored a few ideas, we then move on to our reason and explanation chart. By now, you should have chosen your topic. All right, so include facts and opinions to support your position. A fact can be proved to be true. All right, but an opinion cannot. So this is how we differentiate between the two. If it's a fact, it can be proved to be true, but an opinion is just what I believe. All right, it's very important to include both. All right, so here we see the position statement. All right, this is stated at the beginning. This is the opinion. All right, it's what the author believes. The author's position is that the community park should be cleaned up. All right, then there are several reasons and explanations to support this opinion, all right, and support this position to convince the reader. And finally, there's a conclusion. Again, it is an opinion at the end. All right, so once you've completed the pre-write stage, once you have completed your reason and explanation chart, then start to write your paragraph for each reason you listed, all right? Include details and facts that support each reason, and of course, as always, we organize it in, or we arrange it in logical order and save the strongest reason for last. Look at the way here that the writer used the ideas and her reason and explanation chart to write a first draft. All right, so the opinion is clearly stated at the top. The first reason is stated and supported by opinion. The second reason is stated and backed up by facts. Again, this is convincing when we have facts. The third and the strongest reason is stated and supported by opinion. All right, and again, there is a concluding sentence. All right, remember your customers are depending on you to help. So this is a call to action. All right, your community is also depending on you to help. All right, so at this stage we have completed our first draft, but we're not done. Now we have to revise. All right, the first step that we do when we revise is we elaborate. This is one way to improve your writing. When you elaborate, you add important facts, reasons, opinions, and details that might be missing from your writing. When you revise your persuasive letter, you may need to include more reasons or details to prove your point. The facts and details that this writer added make her arguments more convincing. All right, so here, look at the change that the writer made. Studies show that people spend more time in places, I've read that people spend more time in places that are surrounded by trees, plants, and grass. So instead of just saying I've read, we can change that to be studies show. All right, studies show that people who spend more time in not just places, clean downtown areas, so add specific information in order to influence your reader. All right, next, since there are stores next to the park, it would help business to clean up the land. Right, we change this to since your store is next to the park, it would help your business to clean up the land. So here again, this is a call to action. This is directly speaking to the reader. All right, so this is when we elaborate, we add this specific information. Next is word choice. When we use persuasive writing, it's important to understand how the words we choose can influence our audience. All right, opinion words help make statements more convincing. All right, so instead of just saying people, animals, and plants are healthier in unpolluted areas, here we add an opinion words. Everyone knows that, all right? And also community pride is not just another good reason to help, but it is the best reason to help, all right? So here the word choice is important, and the word choice is what is going to convince your readers. Finally, better sentences. Check your sentences to make sure they fit together well. Make sure that you have combined sentences that repeat the same idea, all right? So combine them by subject or combine the objects. All right, this is going to help you not to write short and choppy sentences. All right, step number 4 is to proofread, and this to me is the most important stage. All right, so once you have revised your persuasive letter, you need to proofread it to find and correct any errors in mechanics, grammar, and usage, and spelling. All right, so here are the strategies. Read your revised letter more than once. Look for a different kind of error each time you read. Remember, it is easier to concentrate on one kind of error at a time. All right, so first we're going to read it and check for capitalization in each part of the letter. Check for each name and title before it, the greeting, closing of a letter, all of this must begin with a capital letter, of course, proper nouns. Next, we're going to read it again, and this time we're checking for punctuation. All right, be sure you have used a colon after your greeting and a comma after the last word in your closing. And finally, check for spelling mistakes. All right, so again, we're going to read it one more time, looking just for spelling mistakes. Read slowly and carefully rather than reading at your normal rate so that you are able to catch any mistakes you may have. And at the bottom here, we have the rules for you to review in case you have any questions. All right, so notice here all the proofreading marks on the draft below. What does this symbol mean? All right, we have this. This means we are taking it out and we are changing it to another word or another statement, this symbol. All right, you can see the proofreading marks in a yellow box on page 143, and then add, take out, make a capital letter, small letter, check the spelling, and add a period. All right, so take your time proofreading your persuasive letter. This is very important. Finally, once you have reviewed your persuasive letter, it's ready to publish. But first, we must look at it to make sure It is ready. All right, so follow the checklist below, and I find this to be very beneficial. Make sure that, number one, you made your position clear at the beginning of the letter. All right, so don't make your readers look for your position. Don't make them try to read too much before they understand your opinion on this topic. State it clear at the beginning. All right, next, make sure, did you put your reasons in a logical order with the strongest argument last? Next, who is your reader? So think about your audience. Will my arguments be convincing to him or her? So think about your purpose and your audience. Did I get my reader's interest at the beginning of my letter and end with a persuasive conclusion? So it's very important to catch their attention, all right, catch their interest at the beginning, and also leave them with a persuasive ending, a strong conclusion. Next, did I include enough facts to support my reasons? All right, so if we have too many opinions, it's not going to be convincing. It must be backed up by facts and evidence. Next, did I vary my sentences so that they fit together well? All right, so be sure to use different sentence structure. Did I use opinion words to express my views and sway my audience? Opinion words, guys, again, are very important. Did I use correct capitalization for proper nouns? Make sure that, of course, all proper nouns are capitalized. Did I proofread for correct letter, punctuation, and form? And finally, did I correct all errors? All right, so this is how we're going to check our revised draft one last time. Once you have completed this self-checklist, then make a neat and final copy of your draft, and then you are ready to submit it. You're ready to send it. You're ready to email it. So whatever you're going to, whichever way you're going to publish, you are ready to do so. Okay, so that's it for persuasive writing, which is what we completed in class. We looked at these examples here. The final copy is on page 145, the final draft, the persuasive letter. Let's read it together. All right, so we have the address, we have the inside address. Have you noticed the litter in Midtown Park? Sorry, dear Mr. Stanley. All right, so we know this is a business letter because we have a colon after the opening. Have you noticed the litter in Midtown Park? We students are hoping you can help us change that for 3 reasons. First, studies show that people spend more time in clean downtown areas that are surrounded by trees, plants, and grass. Since your store is next to the park, it would help your business to clean up the land. Second, litter is harmful to the environment. Everyone knows that people, animals, and plants are healthier in unpolluted areas. Third, community pride is the best reason to help. When citizens work together, they feel pride and take care of their community. So this is the strongest reason. If you don't mind, a volunteer will be calling soon to see if you can donate shovels, trash cans, gloves, and other materials. Remember, your customers and community are depending on you to help. Sincerely, Patricia Perez. All right. So that's it, guys. If you have any questions about persuasive writing, please let me know and hope to see you all soon.